Okay, everybody, here's the, I'm at the cusp of the next step in my transformation into a driver for Uber and Lyft. Actually, this is the Lyft one. I'm doing the, I'm meeting my guide in Lyft. It's a guy, I won't say his name. Well, I'll say his name is Frank. I just made that up. And Frank texted me almost immediately within 10-20 minutes of my application and arranged for me to meet him. And I had put down my operating base as Irvine, so he's a guide here in Irvine. And I think he's an experienced driver who then the Lyft Corporation pays for him to train new people like me on how to do it. So I'm going to go pick him up like he's a ride, and we're going to spend an hour more together, and he's going to orientate me on how to become a Lyft driver. Yes, this is not for Uber. I don't seem to be doing this with Uber, but with Lyft. So I don't know if I'll make a video with him or not, kind of feel him up, see how he, not feel him up, but, gauge whether he's interested, or maybe just do it the after. I don't like putting people on camera. I actually had a YouTube meet. I met a viewer from YouTube, recently, and he was very uncomfortable with the idea of being on camera. I didn't even suggest it, so he preemptively stopped me from making sure I didn't do it. And so, I gotta really keep that in mind. So, if I might not even ask. So I may just give you an after the fact summary of it. So I've got just 9 minutes to get to his place. Says that I'll be there. The navigation says I'll be there very soon. So here's more after this. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody. Well, I just finished my Lyft mentoring. How do you do that? Let's get the place with the best light here, where people won't think I'm filming them. There we go. And my driver, my mentor, Kenny G, spent about an hour with me. We had a predetermined time. I met him at that time, and he basically answered all my questions. I had a lot of questions. I wish I could remember everything from the business side of things to the interpersonal side of things, the passenger side, the etiquette of being a Lyft driver, how to work with people. We talked about insurance. We talked about dealing with the company, the Lyft company, and I had a few other things of interest, which I may or may not say here. See how this goes. Basically, this is a legitimate thing. Whether or not government regulation will see that in the long run remains to be seen. But Kenny G has been doing this for a year and a half, full time. He's managed to pay off all of his debts and his school debts, and amazing. And he operates this as a business. So that means that the car that he has, which is a brand new Prius like mine, although he has a smaller one, the brand new. He actually switched. He had the bigger Prius like mine, but he switched to a smaller one. And he uses the Prius. He says that's the vehicle of choice with this because of the gas mileage. He writes this off, so the expenses, things like wear and tear on the car, the purchase of the car, the vehicle, the loan payments. Let's get out of the wind here. The loan payments, all that kind of stuff. He's able to write all of that off because it's a business. And he told me some interesting things. I wish I could have recorded it. It was a really interesting discussion. It didn't have that vibe. I think he would have been cool with it, but it didn't. He told me that. Okay, well, here's the other thing. He's transitioned. He really doesn't do Lyft anymore. He's a mentor now. So Lyft pays him $35 per hour to tutor people on how to become Lyft drivers. And what he told me, and I asked him, I said, how does that work out? What about the competition? If you have so many people that are joining this, how does that work out? And he says for every 100 people that he mentors, only 2 of them or 3 of them will actually stick with it. He said what it takes is just like anything else in life. It takes dedication, discipline, business sense, and an ability to create a business model that will work for you. So understanding how to manage your expenses, how to know when to operate, how to be disciplined in your control of timing and the like. Basically, running a business. And he says he takes that approach with this in terms of keeping track of everything. He knows when he was driving most of the time, he knew the times that he needed to work. He knew how to balance things. He also did what I'm attempting to do, Uber and Lyft simultaneously. And he said the companies were okay with that. So Uber is one company, Lyft is another company that does the same thing. And you kind of have 2 phones, or you have 2 apps, and you kind of balance between the 2. When you go out and get a ride from Uber, you sign off on Lyft, or vice versa. And he said that worked very well as well. He told me, though, that Lyft is a much better company to work with than Uber. Uber is a more corporate mentality and less personal feel to it. One of the distinctions he made was that Lyft riders usually elect to sit in the front seat. Uber riders usually like to sit in the back seat, and he says that's kind of reflective of the overall corporate structure. Whereas in Uber, the drivers are just another cog in the machine. In Lyft, we're drivers, we're people, and they treat us like that. Very, very interesting. The mechanics of actually picking stuff up, picking people up and dropping them off. If I actually go through with this, I'll talk about that later. What else? The viability, he told me that he's making his living at this. He's getting ready to leave Southern California. He's going to go to another state, and he's picked out the area he's going to live in specifically for that as well. Okay, anything else? Okay, so I'll just go over the steps. The next step is I passed the test. This involved an interview, a vehicle inspection, more checking of all my documents, and then about a 10-minute driving test where I used to be a driving instructor, so it was kind of bringing back old days, where he got in like we went through the whole thing between our two phones, like I was a driver, he was a passenger. It was a mock thing, so I learned how the process worked. And I did a driving course. He says I passed, everything's fine. Next goes into a criminal background check. That usually takes 1 business day. He said by next week, and then I'll have to print up a little sticker that I can put on, or a label I can put on my car. And apparently the police are very important about that. You have to have that label, that Lyft label on your car. Otherwise, it's a $1,000 fine for operating as a Lyft driver if you don't have that thing on your car. So this is interesting. Law enforcement is actually involved, has begun the regulatory process, and they have found a way that is acceptable to them to allow Lyft to work here in Southern California, as long as you display that you're a Lyft driver. I'll make another video all about the ethics and the paradigm shift of going from the taxi-based system to this system. That deserves a whole video on its own, because it's a very hot topic and passionate one. So I'm still distilling my thoughts out about this. So, and then one of the things was he showed me how many rides he'd done. It was so many rides that he'd done, and he showed me his car because I asked him about keeping the car clean. He said of all those rides, only one person had ever vomited in his car, and they had opened the door and managed to get it out, most of it out. He said that there's a $45 cleanup fee if that happens. The charge was more than that. I think it was like under $100. He talked about his car was spotless. He talked about amenities, keeping things like gum, cold water available, charging station, using Spotify or Pandora to let people listen to music. Very interesting. I got a very good feeling from this. So that's it for now. I'm in Irvine. I'm going to stop, and my wife and daughter should be waking up soon, and we're going to have some fun in Irvine. We do this every weekend now. My wife and daughter wake up at Saturday here. It's Sunday morning soon there. They'll wake up, and we will explore Irvine from across the seas. And soon, hopefully, my family will be here as well. And I mean, I'm so excited about this. After I give my wife the Prius, I may trade in my motorcycle and get another Prius for myself, just so I can do this on the weekend. I'm really excited about this. So, that other thing, should I talk about that other thing? I will talk about it. But let me just put it this way. Will I talk about it? I'm going to talk about it, but I want to put the disclaimer, okay? This is my life right here. I'm not giving you guys the finger. That ring right there, that is the foundation, the basis of everything in my life, my marriage to my wife. So what I'm saying right now is couched under the understanding that 26 years of being with that woman, the little bit of intelligence that's Kenny G related to me will have no impact on me. It was interesting. He told me that it's one of the things that if you're working the night shift, it's tricky, is that you get propositioned a lot by women, and or at least he does. He's a 6'2" handsome sportsman, so and I'm an old man. But he said, watch out for that. He said that's one of the challenges in the late night shift is navigating the propositions of young women who want to ride home from the club and are all alone. Or he said sometimes they're not alone. Sometimes there's a group of them. So you leave that with who you want, but don't have to worry about me. I'm just relating information here. I'm connected to the woman of my life, and that was the way it is forever. So it's just something to it's just to share. I just thought it'd be funny. It's the money shot. See you later. Bye-bye. Oh, still up. Bye.